Prison isn't supposed to be a career fair, but apparently, some inmates got the memo anyway. 1. The Chicken Wrangler of Arizona. At the Florence Correctional Complex, prisoners can apply for one of the most prestigious positions in the yard: Poultry Management Technician. Translation: Chicken Wrangler. Their main duty is keeping the prison's flock alive, productive, and not in open rebellion. The inmates feed, clean, and literally babysit hundreds of chickens under the blazing desert sun, earning about 25 cents an hour. Some of them even brag about getting Employee of the Month from birds that don't technically respect authority. It's part therapy, part poultry boot camp, where your job performance depends entirely on whether a hen decides to peck you into early retirement. Still, it's a step up from scrubbing toilets. You may be locked up, but hey, someone's got to make sure the warden's omelet supply stays steady. 2. The Graveyard Gardener in Louisiana's Angola prison, famously nicknamed the Farm. There's a job nobody wants until it's too late: the cemetery caretaker. Every inmate buried there is tended by another inmate who mows the grass, digs the graves, and sometimes even builds the coffins. It's morbidly poetic, prisoners crafting the final resting places of their peers. The work is quiet, eerie, and deeply philosophical. Some call it the calmest corner of hell. The caretaker earns about 20 cents an hour, but they all agree on one perk: nobody bothers you. You get fresh air, peace, and plenty of time to reflect on life choices while holding a shovel. In a world of chaos and noise, death, apparently, is the best co-worker you can ask for. 3. The Goat Barber of Colorado. Leave it to Colorado to make prison sound like a petting zoo. At the Buena Vista Correctional Facility, a small herd of goats provides milk, cheese, and emotional stability to the inmates. But goats, like prisoners, need grooming. So the prison invented a job: Caprine Hygiene Specialist, or as it's better known, the Goat Barber. Inmates are given clippers, brushes, and a crash course in animal behavior, which sounds cute until you realize goats bite, kick, and scream like demonic toddlers. Still, it's oddly therapeutic. Some inmates claim they find peace while trimming hooves and talking to their four-legged coworkers about redemption. It's like prison therapy, except your therapist occasionally eats your shirt. 4. The License Plate Philosopher. Ah yes, the oldest cliche that turned out to be 100% true. Inmates really do make your license plates. In states like California, Texas, and Illinois, prisoners spend 8 hours a day hammering out metal rectangles that end up on your Toyota. But here's the real absurdity: many of them don't even have driver's licenses. You've got a guy serving 20 years for Grand Theft Auto now manufacturing the very thing that decorates your car. Irony could sue for overuse. Each plate is stamped, painted, and inspected under military precision, earning the inmate about 30 cents an hour. They call it rehabilitation through production. But let's be honest, it's hard to feel rehabilitated when you're making 400 tags a day while your cellmate yells that he wants one with flames on it. Still, some find weird meaning in it. One prisoner told a reporter, "Every plate I make is a reminder that someone out there gets to go home." That's either profound or tragic, probably both. 5. The Prison Tattoo Removal Assistant. Only in America could an inmate with a neck tattoo of a flaming skull help another guy get his removed. In several state facilities, tattoo removal assistant is a real paid prison job. Under supervision, inmates help run the laser machine that erases tattoos for other prisoners hoping for a fresh start, or just tired of explaining why death before parole doesn't age well. The assistants wear goggles, take safety courses, and earn the equivalent of $1 a day to zap away regret, one beep at a time. The irony drips like disinfectant: ex-gang members helping others remove the very marks that once defined them. It's rehab wrapped in a laser beam. Some say the smell of burning ink is terrible. Others say it smells like freedom, or at least like less judgment at your parole hearing. It's the rare case where you can literally clean up your past without leaving the building. 6. The Prison Librarian with Power. Forget Shawshank Redemption. Real prison librarians are part intellectual, part therapist, and part detective. Across the U.S., inmates can earn the job of library clerk, managing thousands of battered books for the population. They catalog, repair, and distribute everything from legal manuals to romance novels, usually earning under $1 a day. But here's where it gets wild. Some inmates have used This job to smuggle messages, run underground book clubs, and even start appeals by reading law textbooks. One librarian in Illinois reportedly helped 20 inmates draft their own motions, while simultaneously enforcing a strict no-stealing Stephen King rule. It's the one job that gives you both a sense of purpose and unlimited gossip, because nothing travels faster than a whispered spoiler about Game of Thrones. For many, it's not just a job. It's an escape hatch for the mind, a place where a man in orange can feel human for a chapter or two. 7. The official rat catcher. In some older facilities, especially in Louisiana and parts of Mississippi, pest control isn't outsourced, it's assigned. Meet the rodent control specialist, aka the prison rat catcher. Armed with gloves, traps, and nerves of steel, the inmate's job is simple: keep the vermin population lower than the inmate population. The pay? 25 cents an hour and all the psychological trauma you can carry. Some use makeshift tools, others improvise with buckets and peanut butter bait. And here's the dark twist: they're often competing with cats, also kept on site for pest control, which makes for some weird professional rivalry. One inmate even kept score on a chalkboard. Cats 3, me 5. Officials call it a vocational opportunity, but it's really just fear factor with more paperwork. Still, those who do it claim it teaches patience, precision, and humility, because nothing makes you rethink your life choices faster than chasing a rat through a kitchen in flip-flops. 8. The prison firefighter. California's most heroic and underpaid workforce might just be behind bars. Every summer, hundreds of inmates trade orange jumpsuits for yellow fire gear and march straight into burning forests. They're called inmate firefighters, trained for weeks, then sent to battle wildfires that threaten towns, homes, and million-dollar tiasira vineyards. They risk their lives for $1 an hour, less than the price of the bottled water the firefighters beside them drink. The absurdity is almost poetic. Society's worst helping save its best. They sleep in tents, eat ash for breakfast, and sometimes get thank you letters from the very communities that voted to keep them locked up. Some even earn early release, though most can't become firefighters after prison because of their record. So they fight flames for freedom they won't fully get. It's redemption on a discount rate, courage that costs less than a cup of coffee. 9. The prison funeral makeup artist. In Louisiana's Angola prison, where life sentences are often literal, a select few inmates train as mortuary assistants. Their main duty? Preparing their fellow prisoners for burial. They wash, dress, and sometimes even apply makeup to the deceased. It's not glamorous, it's profoundly human. The job pays almost nothing, but the emotional toll is heavy currency. Imagine doing a friend's final shave or smoothing their collar before the coffin closes. One inmate called it the quietest conversation you'll ever have. Others say it gives them peace, a way to give dignity to those who ran out of chances. It's a hauntingly honorable task in a place built on punishment. The irony? Some of these men spend their days preparing others for death while serving life without parole. It's a reminder that even in the coldest corners of the justice system, compassion sometimes sneaks in wearing rubber gloves. 10. The license plate graffiti inspector. In Texas, there's a job that sounds fake until you see it: the license plate quality inspector. After the plates are stamped, painted, and stacked, another inmate's job is to examine every single one for imperfections or accidental words. And yes, that actually happens. One notorious batch had plates that accidentally spelled Hell 666, which caused an immediate recall. Since then, inspectors have been ordered to double-check for offensive patterns, misspellings, or hidden swear words. The irony is thick. Men convicted of vandalism now serving as the anti-graffiti task force for America's highways. Some take the job seriously, others turn it into performance art, rejecting anything with bad vibes. It's a tiny job with huge consequences. One wrong combination, and suddenly there's a pickup truck in Kansas driving around advertising Satan. Who knew quality control could sound like a biblical duty? 11. The beekeeper of Rikers Island. Yes, even New York City's infamous Rikers Island has a honey farm. The Apicultural Rehabilitation Program, that's fancy for prison beekeeping, lets inmates care for thousands of bees in a small fenced garden just outside the chaos of cell blocks. The buzzing hives teach discipline, teamwork, and not screaming when stung. Inmates learn how to harvest honey, build hives, and sell the final product under the brand Sweet Beginnings. It's a rare program where nature doesn't judge you. The bees don't care about your rap sheet. They just want you to stay calm and not crush their queen. Some former inmates even go on to work in agriculture after release, turning bee stings into resumes. It's strangely poetic. Men learning patience from insects, crafting something pure and golden in a place designed to strip life of sweetness. The program's slogan says it all: hope tastes like honey. 12. The prison TV repair technician. Some people go to trade school. Others just end up in one made of concrete and steel. In several U.S. prisons, inmates can actually earn the title of television service technician. Their job? Repairing the same communal TVs everyone fights over. Imagine fixing a screen that was just punched during an argument about Wheel of Fortune. These inmate techs learn to replace fuses, solder wires, and resurrect ancient flat screens, older than their crimes. The pay is microscopic, maybe 30 cents an hour. But the respect? Immense. You instantly become the most powerful man in the cell block. When the Super Bowl's on and the picture goes out, everyone suddenly treats you like royalty. One prisoner said, "For those 3 minutes, I was God." It's ironic. Men who once broke the law now hold the remote control to peace and order. The only downside? If the screen dies during movie night, the same people who praised you will start threatening to reformat your hard drive. Turns out, fixing a TV in prison is 10% electronics and 90% survival skills. 13. The prison dentist's assistant. There's tough. And then there's volunteering to hold the drill while someone gets a tooth pulled in a correctional facility. Inmates with steady hands and stronger stomachs can work as dental assistants, a real position with real certifications. They sterilize tools, manage paperwork, and help the prison. Dentists during procedures that would make most people faint. The wild part? Many inmates say it's the cleanest, calmest job inside. You get gloves, air conditioning, and a mask. Luxuries in a place where privacy doesn't exist. The job also comes with deep irony. Some assistants are in for assault charges, yet their daily task is making sure no one feels pain. One described it perfectly. "I used to break teeth. Now I fix them." It's poetic justice with Novocaine, and while the dentist gets paid a full salary, the inmate assistant earns less than a pack of ramen per hour, proving that in prison, you can literally save someone's smile for 25 cents and a thank you nod through swollen cheeks. 14. The cow milker of San Quentin. You wouldn't expect a maximum security prison to sound like old McDonald's farm, but San Quentin has its own herd of dairy cows, and a few lucky inmates get the job of milking them. Every morning before sunrise, the dairy operations. Crew wakes up to do chores that feel less like punishment and more like punishment with udders. They clean stalls, feed cows, and extract gallons of milk used for the prison's kitchen supply. One guard joked it's rehabilitation by lactose. The workers claim it's surprisingly peaceful. Cows don't care what you did, they just want breakfast. There's something humbling about standing in a barn while the rest of the yard's still asleep, watching the fog roll over barbed wire. Some inmates say the cows listen better than their cellmates. The only downside? You'll never drink a carton of milk again without remembering exactly where it came from. Still, compared to kitchen duty or laundry detail, being the prison's unofficial milkman of San Quentin sounds almost like freedom, at least until the bell rings and the gates slam shut again. 15. The prison call center operator. Here's a job title you probably didn't expect to find on a resume. Customer Service Representative, State Correctional Facility. Believe it or not, some prisons outsource real-world customer service contracts to inmates. These people, many serving long sentences, spend their days answering phones for major corporations, banks, and insurance companies. So when you're on hold for 40 minutes listening to smooth jazz, there's a small chance your call is being handled by someone sitting behind bulletproof glass. They're trained in scripts, etiquette, and conflict resolution. Ironic, given how most got there in the first place. The pay? Around $150 an hour, plus the joy of being yelled at by angry customers who have no idea they're talking to someone who's legally not allowed to hang up. Some inmates say it's empowering, others say it's psychological warfare. But the funniest part? Their supervisors often report lower complaint rates than outside employees. Maybe because prisoners actually understand patience. You try dealing with hold. Music after 10 years of solitary confinement. 16. The Sanitation Squad. Commander, In every prison, there's a team of unsung heroes who keep the place from turning into a biohazard zone, the sanitation workers. These guys mop the floors, unclog toilets, and disinfect showers that could star in a horror movie. The title, Sanitation Crew, sounds simple, but inside it's practically military hierarchy. One inmate leads the squad, barking orders about bleach ratios like it's boot camp. They're the invisible backbone of prison life, ensuring no one dies of athlete's foot before their parole hearing. It's gross, exhausting work, but it comes with perks: early breakfast, private cleaning closets, and a weird sense of pride. One inmate called it the only job where you leave cleaner than you came in. For 35 cents an hour, they scrub away decades of bad decisions, one mildew-covered wall at a time. It's thankless, grim, and somehow philosophical, because nothing teaches. Humility, quite like power washing a cell block while a guard yells at you for missing a spot. 17. The prison radio DJ. Not every inmate gets a microphone, but in Louisiana's Angola prison, a few lucky ones run their own station, KLSP, known as the Incarceration Station. It's a fully operational radio broadcast that beams gospel, country, and inmate interviews across the compound. DJs spin records, read weather reports, and announce birthdays. Basically, it's Good Morning, Inmate without the studio audience. The bizarre part? The show's fan base includes guards, wardens, and even families outside the prison walls. It's part therapy, part community theater, and part reminder that even behind bars, people still crave connection. The announcers take it seriously, crafting playlists that shift from Johnny Cash to sermons to sports talk. One host signed off every night with, "Remember, freedom starts between your ears." Corny? Sure, but it's also kind of beautiful. The fact that a man serving life without parole can still cue up "Take It Easy" and make 3,000 other inmates hum along, that's rehabilitation, one radio wave at a time. 18. The Sewing Line Specialist. Ever wonder who makes those uniforms for state employees, military cadets, or even other prisoners? Spoiler, it's usually prisoners. In facilities across America, massive sewing rooms buzz with hundreds of inmates stitching clothing, bedding, and sometimes American flags. The irony practically sows itself. Men convicted of breaking laws making the flags that represent them. Workers operate industrial machines under fluorescent lights, producing thousands of garments each week for pennies. Yet some treat it like art class. One inmate from Alabama described sewing as meditation with needles. They even compete to make the straightest seams, turning punishment into productivity. Still, it's grueling. Long hours, strict quotas, and zero air conditioning. Drop a stitch, and you're starting over. The state calls it vocational training. Inmates call it thread-based torture. But for a few, the skill becomes freedom. Tailoring shops actually hire ex-prisoners who learned inside. So if your new uniform fits perfectly, thank a man who made it while dreaming of wearing anything but matching khaki again. 19. The Prison Tour Guide. Yes, some inmates are tour guides, real ones, with badges and rehearsed spiels. In places like Alcatraz, Eastern State Penitentiary, and Missouri State Prison, former inmates or trusted low-risk prisoners actually lead tourists through the same halls they once dreaded walking. They tell stories, crack jokes, and answer questions like, "So, where was the worst cell?" It's equal parts ghost tour and group therapy. Visitors love it. It's raw, honest, and oddly charismatic. One guide at Missouri's old penitentiary said, "I used to count down the days to leave this place. Now I punch in." The irony could power the electric chair. Still, it's effective. Hearing a man describe his old cell hits harder than any museum plaque. These tours don't just show prison history, they humanize it, turning personal pain into public education. Plus, it's the only tour in America where the guide can say, "Trust me, I really know my way around here." 20. The Prison Soap Maker. You know a job is dangerous when it combines fire, chemicals, and people who can't legally buy scissors. Welcome to the glamorous world of prison soap making. Inmates in states like Ohio and Arkansas produce literal tons of soap every year, everything from hand bars to liquid detergent, for use inside prisons and in state facilities. It sounds wholesome, but it's basically a chemistry lab run by people who failed high school science. They melt fats, mix lye, and pour steaming liquid into molds, hoping not to create an accidental acid bomb. The result? perfectly respectable soap that smells like fresh linen and second chances. Some batches even get sold to local nonprofits, which means you might have already washed your hands with inmate craftsmanship. The irony? These men spend their days creating the symbol of cleanliness while living in a system that refuses to wash its own reputation. Still, it's honest work, and in a place built on punishment, even the smallest bubble of pride can feel like redemption. 21. The prison dog trainer. Of all the prison jobs, this one's easily the most heartwarming. Across America, inmates participate in positive change programs where they train rescue dogs for adoption or service work. Imagine the toughest guys in the yard teaching Labradors to fetch slippers. It's part rehabilitation, part emotional CPR. Inmates learn patience, communication, and responsibility. The dogs learn trust and sit commands. One prisoner said, "That dog saved me first." They sleep beside their trainees, care for them 24/7, and then, when the program ends, say goodbye as the dogs leave for their new homes. Some cry, some laugh, some start training another dog immediately because they miss having something that loves them unconditionally. These programs have one of the lowest reoffense rates in the country. Turns out you don't need therapy when you've got a golden retriever who believes you're already forgiven. If redemption had fur, this would be it. 22. The inmate artist in residence. In a handful of forward-thinking prisons, inmates can work as official artists in residence. It sounds fancy, but their studio is usually a converted janitor's closet with paint fumes and zero ventilation. Still, the art they create, murals, portraits, sculptures, often ends up displayed in city halls and galleries. Some paint memorials for victims, others create anti-violence murals on prison walls. One inmate from Illinois became famous for painting photorealistic landscapes from memory, even though he hadn't seen a sunset in 20 years. The program pays next to nothing, but it buys sanity. "Art makes me free for a few hours," he said. These projects remind guards and visitors alike that talent can survive anywhere, even behind bars. Ironically, some inmates have fans on the outside who don't even know their work was painted by someone in prison. It's the one job that lets a prisoner escape, even if it's only through a brushstroke. 23. The prison recycling engineer. Every prison produces a mountain of trash, and someone has to sort it. Enter the recycling crew, a team of inmates who separate cardboard, metal, and plastics for pennies an hour. They wear gloves, masks, and thousand-yard stares as they sift through other people's leftovers, food scraps, broken fans, and occasionally a missing contraband cell phone. It's grim, but important work. Some prisons boast recycling rates higher than actual cities. The job teaches environmental responsibility, even if the pay could barely buy a soda. The workers joke that it's saving the planet one yogurt cup at a time. Ironically, many inmates say it's their favorite gig. It's outdoors, it's quiet, and it reminds them they can fix something, even in small ways. For men, society wrote off as waste. Turning garbage into something useful feels like poetic justice. They might be behind bars, but at least they're cleaning up the mess, literally and figuratively, that the world left behind. Humans can find purpose anywhere, even in a cell. Which of these prison jobs actually deserves a promotion?